What if I told you someone could be dying on the inside and you'd never know? Because they smile too well. Because they show up every day. Because they look fine. Now here's what the data is telling us. 1 in every 15 South Africans is living with a rare disease. That's over 4 million people. And yet in South Africa, rare diseases are seldom considered in healthcare planning and in policy making. And patients are frequently dismissed or neglected by their society and healthcare funders and providers. 4 million people, completely invisible. And when they do get a diagnosis, the journey takes 5 years or more. That's 5 years of being told, it's probably stress. You look fine. Maybe try resting. Today we're talking about one of those diseases, IIH, or Idiopathic Intracranial Hypertension, where the pressure inside your skull builds up silently, relentlessly, and with no visible proof. I'm Zandi Mathe Nhleko, and my guest today is someone many of you think you already know. You've seen her on your cameras, Wife Swap South Africa, composed, strong, magnetic. But cameras only catch the surface. Today, Mpho Mkwanazi shows us what the camera never, ever caught. The version of her that has had to fight, and it's not fighting for ratings, but for people to simply believe that she is sick. Welcome to Suits and Sneakers. Let's get into it. Mpho, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's only a pleasure.
I reflect on our conversation over coffee, and I couldn't wait to have this conversation. Of course, for my own personal reasons, around how amazing your journey has been, listening to your story, being an advocate of IIH, and also learning something completely new about something that I, for one, and I guess many people, viewers out there, are probably also going to be learning about today.
Yes.
So I think the first thing to almost get into is what IIH is, exactly what it feels like on the inside. And we often don't know what we don't know, but why does the gap between your reality and what others think is happening to you seem so big and so disparate?
So it's an illness that's very hard to explain to the next person, but also it's an illness that is difficult to explain to myself.
Okay.
So when I try and go, hey, I'm not feeling too well today, I have a headache. Your first thought is going to be like, oh, here's some Panado.
Or go sleep.
Or rest,
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not it. So you feel like it's like a migraine, but it's also like a tension headache. But you're like, but something is not quite right. And you can't put your finger on it. And it's hard to explain. But the simplest way that I found to explain is that I can feel like my head is going to explode.
That's hectic. Like,
yeah.
and it's not a headache. That's not a headache. Or at least it's not a headache I've ever had. Right?
Yeah. Also for myself, it's headaches I've never had. And
Yeah.
I just thought, but wait, man. I actually feel very ill to the point of, I feel like, no, somebody bury me as I am. I'm going to die.
And I think the challenge with it is because no one actually sees that feeling of I'm going to explode.
Yeah.
That's probably where the biggest gap is, and why people make or miss it or get it completely wrong, because your experience isn't translating to something we visually see.
But it also not translates even to myself, because I'm like, but I can feel something is wrong, but nothing else is really changing in my body.
And you're also probably thinking to yourself, but it's a headache, like it's in my head, it's nowhere else. I'm trying to make sense of it. Talk to me about the journey of trying to make sense of it, because I think when we started talking, I was just like, girl, it's still sounding like a headache. Like, I hear what you're saying, but this thing is still sounding like a headache. And I'm already going back into my social networks going, girl, she just talked about a headache. That's just about it. So I can imagine you trying to articulate to someone else what you yourself are struggling to articulate to yourself.
Yes.
How has that been? And I mean, you worked. you actually had
Yeah.
a full-time job.
Yes, I did. A
You
job
were-
I loved.
A job you loved.
Yeah.
And that experience of going, I used to be able to articulate. Like, I used to be able to be fine. I used to come to work and now I'm not fine.
Yeah.
And my days are so different. Walk us through that experience when you started discovering that, listen, I may not be okay, but how that shaped your experience at work. Like, how was it balancing that?
So I think in the beginning, I could realize, I actually saw like little things, like to go, okay, if I sleep in, if I rest and not have like such a hurried morning, I feel slightly better.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay, but maybe it's a resting issue. Maybe let me get a new pillow.
Yeah.
Let me get a new mattress.
Okay.
Let me get a different duvet.
Sleep earlier.
That too.
Right.
Let me have ginger tea. And then I was like, these things are kind of helping. But the next day after that, I'm like, the help is finished. Now what has happened? Now I'm like, do I get a different pillow? Do I get another different bed?
Try chamomile this time instead of ginger tea.
Yes. Try organic. Try. And then you're like, no, man, I've been trying too many things. Still, something is not right.
Correct.
So I'd go to my GP and I'd be like, I have a headache because it's at the top of my head.
Even that is like, Ila, it's
Yes,
here.
yes.
It's nowhere else. It's just here.
Like, yeah. And then she's like, yeah. So paracetamol
Yeah.
should help you. Maybe take leave because the industry you're in is hectic and it's fast paced.
Maybe
Take
you're
leave.
stressed.
And I was like, I did.
It's not working.
It's not.
But imagine the difficulty was just articulating with a doctor, someone in the medical profession.
Yes.
And you would expect them to be like, I get it. You've got this problem. But they themselves are struggling. So how much more your line manager, your colleagues at work, like what?
No, nobody.
What happened there?
No, nobody could, because I couldn't explain it, and I couldn't explain it to myself. I think, and I feel like I'm very good at describing something.
Right.
But I'm like, but this thing I can't describe. Right. And then I said to my husband, let me try and maybe in a different language. Because I know in Zulu there's ikhanda and nhloko, for example, are not the same thing.
Correct.
One is for an animal and one is for
Human,
a human.
yes. Yes,
To
yes.
me, I'm like, I have that one.
I might even have both. Okay, so maybe we need to work with both.
I'm like, let's use a different.
Yeah.
I have the one from the animal.
Yeah.
That's how much pain
That's
I'm
how
in.
that's how it feels.
So now how do I explain that to a doctor that I have a headache of an animal?
Worse now, someone who doesn't have any professional experience and it's just your colleague going, do you want to work?
Yeah.
Are you actually here to do work, girl? Girl, we see you trying to get out of today.
And also it's month-end reporting.
Correct, right? We see you trying to get out of your responsibilities. And I think it's funny in conversation, but in reality, there is someone out there who's dealing with a rare, unknown, misunderstood disease or disorder similar to IIH. And it's not so funny when it's your lived experience, your everyday reality. And people just think, oh, please, like she's just trying to get out of something. Or it's brushed off nonchalantly. But that's a product or a challenge that we have with not knowing.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Definitely. Also, how you present yourself as a daily person. I like to look good.
Yes.
I like to smell good.
But you said you're sick.
But I am sick.
Right. So girl, what's with the lipstick? Like I always, but that's, and I'm playing devil's advocate because that's exactly it. The challenge we have, people expect you to look a certain way
Yeah.
when you say you feel a certain way.
But not necessarily how me and you grew up.
Right.
Your grandmother says, get up in the morning, wash
Correct.
your face and show up.
Yes.
That's how I was also taught.
Yes.
But now I'm like, I'm showing up, but I'm terribly
Sick.
ill. But I was like, look, the lipstick's on though. Is it not?
And that's the disconnect, right? And that's probably why I would call it an invisible illness. Because it does not in any way present itself in the way everybody else expects. And I'll make a classic example.
Okay.
People that might have cancer.
Yeah.
When someone's going through chemo, the signs
all
are there, it's
can see.
visible, we can
Yeah.
see. When someone's really sick, we can see it. But the challenge with an invisible illness like IIH or any other disease or disorder is that you can look as pretty as day, but you're practically dying inside.
Yeah.
And people just are almost tempted to not take you seriously.
But I also didn't take myself seriously.
Okay, so you yourself were
Yeah.
like, hey,
Because
there's something wrong.
I looked pretty. I was like, I want to look pretty, but I'm like, yo.
But I feel terrible.
I want to go to ICU at the same time.
And because you yourself didn't know what was happening,
Yeah.
did at any point in time a conversation that you're having with yourself from I'm feeling sick to maybe it's in my head happen?
Oh no, that happened all the time. Because I'm like, because you can't explain it, can only mean it's psychological then.
Right.
Because the psychological stuff, I think pre-COVID, no one spoke about mental illness until it became COVID.
A big thing. Yeah.
But for me, I was like, I don't know what this thing is. But maybe it's a phantom.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Phantom illness,
Yeah.
phantom sickness.
But I can feel it physically. Because then when you go to the doctor, is there a pain like a machine that you can put in? There isn't. There is no machine you put in and go,
Here's my
measure
pain
the
levels. Yes. Here's my pain level.
There's that scale that they have there
Yeah.
between 1 and 10. And I'm like, I'm at 11. I'm
And
at
even
11.
that, and that's self-reported, right?
Yeah.
Even that is like a self-reported to go. So it's also questionable self-reported. Like I'm doubting my self-reporting right now because yesterday I was fine. Today I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I feel terrible. Now, in the concept of I myself don't know how to articulate this. I'm trying to make sense of it. It's rare. I don't quite know what's happening. My doctor doesn't quite know what's happening.
Yeah.
We're exploring all these interventions: Panado, time, green teas, sleep, rest, starting later, in the day. But it doesn't actually improve my symptoms. You then walk into the workplace and you're met with the challenges that most hidden disorders or diseases, are met with.
Yes.
There's just no accommodation. Like, it's hard to accommodate what you don't outrightly understand and know.
Yeah.
And my question to you is that a product of a failure of individual circumstances? Like, this individual couldn't articulate it the way they needed to because, as you said, you yourself struggled? Or is it a product of a failure of systemic misunderstanding and misrepresentation and a lack of accommodation? Because we all know there's a golden policy that cuts across most organization. We respond to that which we see. In fact, that's how most policies are designed in an organization.
Yes.
We respond with that which we've got evidence of and that which we can see. Anybody who says I'm lying, I'm happy to have that conversation, but that's how policies are formed. Here, we can already know, it's tell, right up front, there's no accommodation for someone with a rare disease or a hidden illness.
Yeah.
And the fact that your workplace, and you spoke a little bit, I had a job.
Yeah, I had a job.
What happened?
So in the past, let's say 8 years, give or take, while trying to figure out everything that's happening, I spent a lot of days in hospital. Like a lot. In fact, I think the security guard knew me by name.
Wow, okay.
Right? I knew how to validate my parking
Yeah.
at the hospital. The nurses knew me. They're like,
Yeah.
we know exactly what you require. So
Yeah.
in a month, I'd say I'd be in hospital for 2 weeks.
Sure.
And
That's
I'd
half
go-
the month.
Yeah, but I'd take my laptop because I'm committed to the cause.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. I'm sick and I'm working. We're still going to cover that one.
Yeah,
That's
but I
deep.
mean, I love it. I
But-
love my job. But
Right? And I think, to your point, you're still showing up
Yeah,
in a hospital gown, girl.
but it was a nice gown.
In the hospital. Yeah. But you're still showing up.
Yes.
And I think that's what we would naturally do, because also you said, I didn't want to feel sick, and we were raised that way to say, on your worst day,
Look pretty.
get up. Don't look like your problems.
Correct.
But the problem is your problems outweighed
Yeah.
everything, right? So you're sitting in hospital with your laptop and you're trying to work.
Yes, and then I actually realized that the treatment that I was getting, you can't actually sit up. So you have to lie down.
Okay.
Then I was
And they
like-
don't have those rotating laptop things
No,
that
this
hang
is
from
not
the
the
ceiling. It's
office.
not that. No, it's not
No,
the
it's
office.
the
It's not a
hospital.
it's not a rotating, standing, sit down
No.
thing. Okay, so it's manual labor, manch.
So then I'm like, I'm trying. And then I'm like, but what am I doing? And I'm like, sisters, don't you have a pin plug?
That thing.
And they
Anything.
just looked at me like, what are you? What? No,
But-
we're not doing that.
But didn't you at any point look at yourself and go, what am I doing?
I think maybe months after, because remember, how many sick days do we get a year?
Oh, it depends, but usually it's 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Odd,
For me, I
yes.
think it was 30 days in a 3-year cycle.
Yes.
So I did that in 2 months.
And then
It's finished.
and then it's done. And then
And
you're
then
like
it's
counting.
unpaid.
Now it's unpaid. Yeah, you're counting. Okay, I can't go over 10 days. That's 10 days of no pay. That's half my salary.
Then I take the laptop, go, I was online. I am trying.
To not suffer the consequences because of a policy that is not accommodating of unknown hidden illnesses.
Yeah, because I was like, in HR, isn't there's supposed to be an other, where we tick other. The other ones are all prescribed, but this one needs a box of its own to go other. While we investigate, let's see. But there's no other, because illness is supposed to have a name, treatment supposed to have a plan, and so on. So, but this had no. It doesn't have
It's
it.
other.
It's other.
It's as open as that. And the risk with other, because it hasn't been accommodated for in policy, it's not on that checklist, right?
Yeah.
It's not the obvious thing that everybody is known to either get sick with, or therefore the other, creates a deep level of ambiguity.
Yeah.
Because then again, back to your manager's discretion. She's done with her sick leave.
Yeah.
Now it's at my discretion. But she don't look sick. So where to from here? Like, Mpho, are you really sick? Yes, we see you spending all this time in hospital, but girl, you're down all your sick leave, and I need to make a discretion. And because it's so hard for you to articulate what's happening, and I guess also at that stage, it was early stages, you still
Yes, it
hadn't
was.
quite discovered what was going on.
No.
So it became difficult to send that message back
Yes.
to my line manager to say, I'm actually going through X, Y, Z. These are my challenges. Because I do believe that if we were able to do that and there was more of that, organizations would be able to accommodate. But there is that lack of accommodation because we ticked the other box.
Also, what did my sick note say? It will say sick.
Illness. Yes.
I'm like, you're not helping
It
me.
says illness, like ... Describe the problem ... illness.
Yeah.
Right. Not the hard facts.
No.
Mpho can't get out of bed today.
Yeah.
Mpho can't see. She's got blurred vision.
Yeah.
Mpho today is all sorts of messed up. She's on level 11 of pain on a rating scale of 10.
Yeah.
Right. So that's not getting translated. Therefore, there is a misunderstanding that naturally gets created. So you're at work, at hospital.
Yes.
You're doing this thing in hospital because, of course, you're trying to still show up.
Correct.
And then what happens?
And then even the paid leave is finished. Then the unpaid leave is finished.
Right.
And I didn't know
Unpaid leave can
finish.
Yes, it can. Because remember, those things like unpaid leave, etc., those are all discretionary. But the reality is this, and it's something I've always highlighted from episode 1, when we talk about policy in workplaces, that unless there are clear guidelines, discretion is also very much limited. And if you don't understand, you won't be able to make the best discretion.
Correct.
Right. You won't be able to make that decision because, it's been 6 months. And the other challenge is there's always going to be a prioritization of the bottom line. Meaning, yes, we took care of Mpho, but hey, man, now we got to take care of business. Right? So unpaid leave is done now. And
Now what?
And what happened there on your journey? Because we know what then happens, right?
Yes. No. So then I said, look, let me take a few months. And then I'm going to try and figure this thing out.
Correct.
Whatever it is. I am going to go on a search mission with
And
zero
find
funds.
out.
But please don't fire me.
Wow. You actually asked.
Yes. No, please don't fire me. I don't know what it is. In my head, I was like, something from the air came and landed on just me. Because what is this?
And what was the response? It's interesting because...
They were like, well, we won't fire you, but if restructuring happened,
Yeah.
We kind of have to restructure the people that are not coming to work.
Correct, yes.
And I
Because
was
you're
like-
not coming to work.
Then I was like, no, then I will come. I will come.
Yeah.
And then I pass out at work.
And then we've got a bigger problem.
Then they're like, okay, but maybe she is not well. But I'm like, but you see, I did come. Also, I stayed until 10 o'clock because policy says if you are there and nothing happened until 10, you were there.
Correct.
But that, for me, I was like, I
Defeats the
will
objective.
literally cry until 1 minute past 10.
Yeah. And then
And then I was there, so that if there was a restructure, it will show that I did come to work.
again, policy not accommodating a circumstance that is very unique.
Mm-hmm.
So we're done with unpaid leave.
Yes.
You asked for time. You asked to keep your job
Yeah.
so that you could go and find out what's happening.
Yeah.
And then you find out what's happening. And then you now go back to work to go, now, I think I know what's happening.
Yes.
And yeah, it's not looking good. What happens then?
So then they're like, no, let's bring in experts.
Yeah.
Because what you are saying, we've never heard
It's
of.
not make sure.
And then I
at
also thought to
all.
myself, maybe it's a cultural thing.
It always is.
Because
That's the reality.
Yeah. Then I'm like, so the people I'm explaining to need to look like me and sound like me, because I can only explain it like me. But the people in that room are looking at me very strangely.
Like,
What's wrong? Exactly. And I'm like, it's idiopathic. The name before was benign. They're like, also, you have an idiot illness.
wow.
And I was like, no, not idiot. Like, it's
Idiopathic. Like,
and then they're like, so no one knows. The word is also, it's saying unknown, but you're also saying unknown. So what are you saying, Mpho?
do you know what's wrong with your unknown self? Like, that's probably the question. That's like, okay, do you know it? What is it? Like, we're not getting it.
So then, because I had taken the time off with my 0 rands, I went to all sorts of doctors. I went to Google, and I was like, Google,
GP, Google.
you've been here way before me.
Yeah.
I cannot be the only
Something must be
person
there.
on
Something
earth.
must be there.
Yeah. And then Google says, no, you're dying in a few days.
That's why you don't trust Google, guys.
That's true.
Google doctor's not your friend.
And then I'm like, how can I not die? And then it's different answers. Then it's like, you need these specialists and those specialists
Yeah.
and these specialists. Then I was like, I'm going to take all this data and I'm going to present it to this HR and everybody around me. And then I started asking for things to go, look, I'm going to come to work, but I need a certain type of chair.
Yeah.
I need a bigger screen. I already got glasses. I'm going to try absolutely everything to show up. And then the illness, I was like, we're also going to try everything to also show up.
So, also, because remember, you're not actually getting the treatment that you need.
No.
So you're progressively getting worse with this unknown disease.
Yeah.
Now, at some point in time, you end up on disability. It's so hard to get disability
Yeah, it is.
with a disease that you know.
Oh,
Can
I
you
didn't know.
imagine?
I thought it was
Yes.
easy.
No, even with people who don't, who have known diseases, the amount of due diligence and motivation that needs to happen to get a disability claim pulled through is insane. And now you're doing it with an unknown,
Yeah.
misunderstood disease. What was that like?
Oh, no, that was painful. That was painful in that I could see my dreams slipping away.
Your career's cut short.
Oh, no, that I was like, no, but I can still.
Yeah.
No, I can still. And then I was like, also, I don't like the word disabled.
Because
You are saying I'm
there's a
different.
stereotype that gets associated with a disability, right? That, hey, if someone knows that I'm now on disability,
Yeah.
anything,
No.
right?
Yeah, no. I don't like the word. I like differently abled.
Yes.
You are
but-
able this way. I'm
yes,
able this way.
But not, in fact, that's probably the more common term, the
Yeah.
advanced term that we use.
Okay.
Differently abled people.
Yes.
But most people still don't know what that is. They're
Okay.
still used to disabled.
Yes. So for now we can use disabled.
Yes.
But I remember filling out that form
And
where
you're
I've
going,
never had to
"That's not
tick
me.
disabled.
That's not me. Yeah.
And I'm like, but I am able. I just not able all the time. I'm not able every day.
And that creates the complexity of an invisible illness, especially one of this nature where every day could be so different.
Yeah.
Today I'm able, tomorrow
I'm
I'm not.
Yeah.
But why am I now being boxed as permanently or temporarily unable all the time, because that's not my reality.
It's not. In fact, up to this day, I still feel like it's not.
But
And
the limitation
will tell you you are differently abled. I do not have a sticker on my car that says disabled. But on the days that I can't walk and use a walker, trust me, I will still park far because I feel like I will do it.
But that creates a bit of a paradox. People get caught in between a rock and a really hard place because you've had to claim disability. You need you've had to register disability. But someone might be resisting that label altogether, right? But the nature of the way in which the disease disrupts doesn't allow them to present the way they would want to present on a daily basis in the workplace.
Correct.
And because the workplace hasn't been designed to deal with people with such illnesses, also doesn't know how to accommodate them. So you almost are forced to retire your dreams, to put any plans you've had of growing in a career aside, and to rethink your entire life, because there isn't enough room in the organizations to restructure, the environment, to restructure how teams understand it, to restructure your ways of work, which is ironic, right? Because hasn't the buzzword been ways of work, new ways of work since COVID hit? But unless the disease looks like COVID,
it ain't it.
No one's restructuring anything.
No.
And I guess it does create the question. And I think as I was reflecting after our breakfast, I was going, wow, I can't imagine resisting the label of disability, but potentially being forced to register as for disability because my life is paused.
Yeah.
And it just feels unfair.
It is unfair.
And it's not nuanced. This is not unique to you. You belong to a community of other people. Talk to me about that community. What have you seen in terms of the stories? Similar stories? Different stories?
Yeah. I think after I did all that research and whatever, and I realized that I can't be alone. Can't be. It's not possible. Yeah. When I found people that we were all together, we're like, I found people that understand, and now I don't even have to explain.
I'm not alone.
I'm like, how were we okay yesterday? And why are we in ICU today? Like, how are we dying? And then the next day you're like, I'm fine again. What is this? And for me, that community is, I think, it kept me like, okay, I'm not mentally ill.
Because let me tell you, girl, if you came to me cold, barring my professional background, if I didn't have my professional background, if you came to me cold, I'd probably say, like, girl, did you by any chance, as a therapist, I'd slip you a card.
Like, yeah, speak to somebody.
Yes, go speak to somebody. But that's the stereotyping that happens, right? Because we are always coming from a frame that we can't even feel bad about. We just don't know what we don't know.
No, we don't.
And there's a reality there. So anyone cold, I don't blame them. So when you find each other as a community, it's a sense of community, especially because I can imagine some people don't quite have that in their families, don't quite have that in their circles of friends, don't quite have that in the workplace. Yes. We know the workplace isn't structured for it. So, but we also can't assume that just because I don't get the kind of support I need at work, I'm going to get it at home or in my friend group. That's been a dynamic for you to also have to experience differently, right?
Yes. So when they say they pull the rug under you, I lost my career. I lost friends. There's family members that still don't talk to me.
Because they think you're crazy.
That too.
Right?
And my friends like, you don't show up. I'm like, yeah, well, because I'm in ICU.
And if I show up, it's going to be different.
Yes.
Like if there's bright lights, I ain't clubbing, girl.
It's not happening.
Loud music, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. Too many people. I'm not going to be there.
And because we don't know what we don't know, we just go, ooh, wouldn't it?
Do
we invite you? You become the friend where everyone discusses first. So go, should we invite her or not?
And also chances are she's not coming.
Which is painful because that's not actually a reality you yourself want to be living.
No, of course not. I want to show up.
But I just can't because...
I just can't do it.
But tomorrow I could.
Yeah, but you're not going to move your wedding.
Yes, true. You're not moving your wedding.
Yes.
We're not moving this girls trip we've been planning for 6 months.
And not even if I said, let's try and do it maybe this season, because this season I have less side effects. Then they're like, but we like this season.
And the community that you're a part of.
Yes.
Stories, similar stories. And I'm also trying to gauge the kind of people that this affects, right? Because I think it really is important to understand that this can be anyone.
Yeah.
It can be anyone. So the community members are all sorts of people.
It's definitely all sorts of people. Because my research was like, no, you're going to look and find people that are exactly like you. And when I got there, I was like, nobody looks like me. Not a single person.
So you can't even trace it back to predispositioned anything.
No.
You can't trace it back to gender even. It's just an invisible disease that hits the unlucky.
Anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. But also I came in thinking, oh, it's definitely a woman thing. Maybe I'm premenopausal. Maybe it is menopause. Maybe.
Or perimenopausal, whatever the term is. But
and I was like, why are they dudes in this group?
Right.
So why are they kids in this group?
So it affects men and children.
Yeah.
And women.
Yeah.
Of all color.
Yep.
And I think that's the danger with it, right? So essentially anybody, anyone can be struggling with this thing. And the worst part that it presents itself as a killer headache.
Yep. And that's all we can describe. Because that's the limited vocab that you have.
Is there. Now, I think it then really wants me to go into the next aspect.
Okay.
And I couldn't help but thinking about this disease in the context of ableism, you know, and how it shows up every day, you know, in our professional and social spaces. But there's a huge cost to that. Personal cost, professional cost. And what does that look like? What are the behaviors? And I think it's important to highlight the fact that ableism is a reality in our everyday world of work. But some people may not necessarily know that they are being that way towards someone who is struggling with a rare illness or an invisible illness. But what are some of the behaviors that you experienced from people unknowingly? Because we have to assume that they didn't know what they didn't know.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you ended up experiencing from other people that allows us to go, this was so ableist?
Yeah.
Like, but they didn't know, so I can't hate them for it. But this is what we can do better, you know, in how we respond and in how we behave. What are some of those things that you had to experience from others that perhaps become worthwhile highlighting to say, guys, if anyone comes through and they like me or they're going through something like me, we've got to do better as people.
Yes, I think a lot of people like we can solve it.
Yeah.
You didn't do enough research.
Yeah.
Doctors didn't do enough research.
Yeah.
You've done the research.
Yeah.
You've now come with me and like, here's a cup of tea.
Yeah.
This tea is from X country and this country. And I know an aunt of an aunt and it worked for them. Drink up.
So your lessons have essentially sort of taught you that people can just take an effort to understand, because your experience, which is the ableism part, was people just brushed me off because.
Yes.
Can't
So
be that
also,
serious.
I appreciated it. I was like, I hear you. Let me try it. Let me drink up.
Yeah.
But it's not working. And then on days when I was really, really in a bad place, when I was using a walker, people are like, oh, shame, let me help you.
Right, because now they are seeing you in a walker. It actually now has something that is visually triggering, but every other day.
But also the walker triggers me.
Yes, because you don't feel.
Yes, and I'm like, no, I can jump around and eventually I'll get there. And then the doctor's like, no, you're not doing yourself a service. Just take the walker and just, on days like that, just. But people act differently for different things. Like I have special parking at work at the time to go, okay, she can park at the disabled parking. And then when someone else in another car comes out in a wheelchair and I just have the one hand walker, they're like, you need to go park with the others.
Yeah.
So then you have to try and find and explain to them, like, it's like MS, but it's not. And they're like, oh, shame, you have MS. And I'm like,
no, but it's not. I think people just automatically go, miss that, but it's not part.
But it's better that way that they think that because then they'll have sympathy.
It's similar to the conversation you were highlighting. You've got a device
Yes.
in your, you're a bit of a RoboCop lady. You've got a thing in your head.
Yes, I have iRobot.
And it rings, ding 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 ding, going through machines, whatever,
The whole thing.
sensors. And you mentioned when we were having breakfast that you actually tell people you have a what? A heart monitor.
Yes.
Because when you tell them you have a thing in your head, it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah, no. Then they're like, where is it?
Where is it? Because
How come
they
we
now
don't
look.
see it?
But everybody understands heart monitor.
Yeah.
Back to the same conversation.
It's easier.
It's easier
Yeah.
because they connected to existing knowledge.
Correct.
And that then changes their behavior towards you.
Yes, because then they think I have a heart problem.
When you don't.
But like I can't win. Because if I say I
Yes.
have a VP shunt, they go, Ewa. And then you're like, I have a heart. They're like, oh, shame, come have a seat.
Right, and that's the truest definition of ableism in any environment.
Yeah.
Right, where your response to a particular illness or a disease is, just limited to your knowledge about it, and we can't put people on the spot for responding in a particular way.
Yes, no.
Because they just don't know what they don't know. And I think the other thing that you highlighted when you were in the walker, you didn't want to be in a walker, but you got sympathy because you were in the walker. And that's how ableism starts to operate differently.
Yes.
Because it's automatically linked to the things that I can see. So people with walkers, if you have a wheelchair, etc., people will behave and respond to you differently. But the minute they don't quite see you being sick, but you're sick,
Yeah. And then they're like, didn't we see you yesterday with a walker?
that's ableism. That's when you're going, I know that person. She said she's sick, but is she really sick? She
'Cause
had a
where's the
walker
walker
yesterday, but
today?
she doesn't have the
What
walker
happened to it
today.
today? But I'm like, but today I'm better.
And it just comes from a place of lack of knowledge and understanding. The big question, and I think this is perhaps what I'd like to take away from this, there are many people, 4 million people in this country, that are sick,
Yes.
invisibly sick. There may be an auntie out there who's probably got similar symptoms. I just have this pounding headache. I feel like I'm going to die. Those symptoms, or if they have something that they feel they really are struggling with, what is it that we feel we should be encouraging them to do and land? Because on a serious note, it must be so hard to try and justify the fact that you are sick when today you're okay, tomorrow you're not, you have no idea what's happening, and there is absolutely no support.
Yeah.
I always say those that can go to doctors in a private hospital are blessed. But you went to a doctor in a private hospital and they themselves didn't know what was going on. They kind of said, go to the psych ward.
Yes, they
right?
did.
Because, nah, girl, we've heard this story too many times.
Yep.
Now I'm thinking for the person who doesn't have that privilege, who doesn't have access to that, but they're sitting with an internal physiological battle that they can't articulate because, one, they don't have the words for it.
Yeah.
Two, who do they tell? The very people that are going to go, "Uyakula wena."
Yeah.
You know, you're not okay. You've always been dramatic.
Ever since.
Right, ever since. So, no, we know this one. This one is just going to come and tell us that she's got a headache. And I think the moral of the story isn't necessarily only about IIH, but it is about people who are suffering in silence from things that are happening to them on the inside, in real time, that they cannot articulate, but don't have an outlet. How do they approach it? And you've done remarkably well over the past 8 years. It's been a rough journey.
Oh, it's
Right.
been very rough.
How do people get to where you are now? And it's not to say you're in a perfect place,
Oh, no, absolutely not.
but you're in a much better place. How do people get to that place?
I think it is, you have to fight for yourself. I'm telling you now, you are not crazy. You are not crazy. That pain it's there. So for me, I'd say write it all down. because the medical profession likes to work on data. Data, they can say, oh, we can see you've monitored, you've done something.
Yeah.
But you have to persist. I persisted and persisted until I was like, okay, it has a name.
Right.
It's a funny name, but it's got a name. So I believe you, because I also felt like no one believed me. And then I believed in myself, and I fought and fought until I was like, okay, now this thing has a name. I'm going to find or research or ask people until something that can make me even a little bit better. So fight, go to the clinic and go, it's not stress. It's not I need rest. I did drink spinach tea. I'm in pain.
I'm not okay.
Yeah, no.
So trust how you feel.
Yeah. Your gut
Because your gut has never lied. Our guts don't lie.
No, they don't.
We lie to ourselves about what our guts are telling us, but our guts,
No.
our bodies, I always say, are the best instruments to deliver messages.
Yeah.
About what's not happening versus what is happening. And even though people will probably brush you off or give it another name.
Yeah.
But if you've come back and it's not that, go back and fight for yourself.
Definitely fight for yourself.
Because if you're not, no one else is going to.
No.
And how do you then have the difficult conversations with family and friends and co-workers and line managers that are like, yeah, this one.
No, it is a tough conversation because you can't explain it. Also because it's idiopathic, or the other word they say benign.
Which is unknown.
Yes. But in the unknown, you're going to take it and you're going to go, hello, hi, what's up, group, family, group, all of them. Namangas. But niyantshela ukuthi I am sick. And I need the following, A, B, C. We cannot kumbaiza. We cannot do this. And even when you do all those things, I'm not cured.
Yeah.
It's
still
just
sick.
Also, why is there no cure also? But it's helping.
Yeah.
And that's all. I'm going to show up. If you can help me, help you. But if you're not going to kumbaiza, I'm not coming then. But let us just try and understand that I also don't know. The doctors don't know. I don't know. Jesus is the only one who knows. But the rest of us, there's no one who can help me.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you all as family, this is where we are.
And someone sitting at home going, I'm Mpho. Or I know someone who's a Mpho, who's struggling with a disease or struggling with something physiological that they haven't been able to articulate. They keep getting 50,000 different lines and misdiagnosis and are being sent from pillar to post. There are channels, there are platforms. What can people do? Who do they reach out to?
So not Google.
Not
Google's going to
Google
tell you
empty,
you're going to die.
Right? Google's going to tell you you're going to die tomorrow. Right. They are communities that exist.
They are communities that exist. One of them that I did find that I've been part of ever since is Rare Diseases South Africa.
Okay.
Because their system is like you put all your things in and then they try and group and try and see where you fall under. And then also they have lots of others.
Yes.
That whole thing is basically a platform full of other.
So Rare Diseases South Africa.
Yes.
It is a community and you can access it online. I think we will have access to this information on the podcast channel, links and description. But
Correct.
It is a platform that people can go into.
Yes.
And doesn't mean they're going to get help, right? Let's just be up clear. They're not going to get a diagnosis or treatment, but they are going to be redirected to a community that allows them to understand more about the disorder.
Yeah, and where you can ask questions.
Where you can ask questions. And hopefully where you can get redirected to people in the medical profession who can assist you.
Yeah, because they have directories of, they've treated this illness. Rather go here.
Yeah.
This one does not know as much as this one.
Yeah.
Because from what I've heard, it's only a page in the medical books.
And I think the call to action then becomes people should fight for themselves, speak up. And those that are encountering people that are struggling, let's not act from a place of ignorance. And if we don't have information, let's be proactive to understand what the person is telling me and find a way to make it better. Because if we're not taking care of each other, then what's the point, right?
Correct.
What's the point?
And because also, let's say for cancer patients, right?
Yeah.
We have wigs and bandanas and whatever. For us, it's the silence and the lighting.
Yeah.
So if you have never heard of the illness, then I'm like, come join the Facebook group so that you can understand why the lighting is
Correct.
an
Is
issue.
important to
Why
be
the
able
chair
to
is
accommodate
important.
of, yeah.
Yes. But you guys are like, no. Also, try and read up a little bit. It's
Yeah.
not saying that you'll become a doctor. Just the support is that at least you read up. You then went to go, I went and Googled and
Correct.
I've learned a thing or two. And that's all we need to go,
Yeah.
hey, Mpho's on her way. Let's turn down the music slightly. Not off, just slightly.
So let's be more accommodative.
Yeah.
And care for each other, because that's where it starts and ends. And if I don't know or understand what you're coming or what you're going through or where you're coming from, the least I can do is try.
Yeah.
And try from a point of information.
Yes.
But I generally say, people that are suffering from something aren't going to be selfish about knowledge if they're suffering it and they want you to understand. But we have got to be receptive of that. And that right there is what this show is always about, right? If this episode moved you in any way, please do something with that feeling. If you were moved, if you were shocked, if you were made emotional, do something. Subscribe to the channel, because then it allows you to never miss another conversation that will change your thinking and challenge you in any way again. And if you know anyone who may have potentially been struggling with something similar, share this information. And there's nothing more powerful than, simply sending someone a message and saying, I heard something today and I thought about you, right? That is the most powerful, sign and language of care. And please leave us a review. The review tells the algorithm that these types of conversations do deserve to be heard. And trust me, this very conversation definitely needs to be heard. I want to really thank Mpho for her honesty, her courage, and of course for her story, and trusting this space, this platform, with a story that I know was not easy to tell, right? And it has never been easy to walk a journey, and articulating it and being a voice for millions who have been trying to find their own words and couldn't, or tried but were never believed. If anything in this episode landed for you, and if you in any way heard yourself in Mpho's words, if you are living with IIH or any other disease that may be seeming invisible, keep telling yourself that you can do more. You are not alone, and there is a community that sees you. We see you. So reach out. Reach out to Rare Diseases South Africa. It's something that Mpho has shared. And it is a landing space built for exactly this, for South Africans navigating rare and invisible illnesses who, really just need community. They need information and who need support. The link is going to be in the show notes. So use it, share it, and pass it to someone who needs it today. Don't wait until tomorrow, because they could have been needing that support today. If you are a medical professional, a researcher, or someone working in this space, we want to hear from you. That is important, because this platform is one that is open to conversations like this that need more voices so we can change people's experiences. We don't just have one Mpho. There are many Mphos, and they're sitting right where you are sitting right now. And the more people we have willing to say this matters, the bigger and better an impact we make.
It's very true.
I'm Zandi Mathe Nhleko. This has been another episode of Suits and Sneakers, where those real conversations happen, unfiltered and all the time. Mpho, thank you so much for sharing your story and being the voice of 4 million. Don't forget that, girl.
Oh, okay. I won't forget it. No,
Don't forget
you,
that,
man.
girl.
Thank you for the safe space.
And I really appreciate that you did see this as a safe space. And I'm hoping that whatever we've discussed today, in its smallest form, can be something someone else can use for themselves tomorrow. And with that being said, until next time, take care of yourselves, but more importantly, please take care of each other.